And we are here at Country Crossings 2018. Am I looking the part? You know it's Country Crossings when the cowboy boots come out.
I even make a cup of coffee going to bed.
And how do you take your coffee? Other teens are driving cars and you're just working on a #1 single. No big deal, right?
Yeah. Brad Paisley, Dustin Lynch, Eric Church, maybe you've heard of them.
This enclosed entryway actually doubles as a panic room. This is what it looked like atop Mount Ashland on this day last year. A much different scene today. Put down their protective masks, but they may be putting on a jacket in its place. One step all parents can take is to keep cars locked. Police aren't releasing any information, but witnesses tell me something happened inside the Sportsman's Warehouse on Delta Waters Road, and that incident led police here to the car wash and Pennzoil on Crater Lake Highway. Police say that woman fought her attacker off and she ran all the way to the Mazda dealership here. They could run into this lobby, hit a red panic button, and these exterior doors lock instantly. You're then automatically connected with dispatch inside. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. We have much more to show you coming up tonight on NBC5 News at 6.
He was my soulmate, and he was everything.
Marcia and Dennis Allen met at a drive-in diner in 1963. 3 years after that first date, they got married, vowing to stay together until death do them part. Cancer brought that about sooner than Marcia would have liked.
I'm grateful that I was with him to the end, and I'm grateful that I had him for 53 years, but it flew by. It was so fast.
Now, the days seem a bit longer, and it's been almost a year since Dennis was buried here at the Sterlingville Cemetery. Families have been making it their final resting place since the 1800s. Over the years, time and changing seasons have left their mark. The cemetery doesn't have a full-time caretaker, no part-time staff either. Jason Allen took notice.
Covered in leaves and pine needles and tree limbs and little young growth stuff, and it needed to be cleaned.
So he did it. First around his father's headstone, then the one beside it. One pile turned into 2, and then 3, and then dozens. And before Jason knew it, he wasn't just sprucing up his dad's gravesite, he was landscaping the whole thing.
It's like I couldn't stop without finishing it.
1 week later, headstones that were once buried are back on display from the 1800s to the 2000s and everything in between.
Once I started, it was a good feeling, so I just kept going. This is your final resting place. It should look good.
And it didn't stop at cleanup. Jason then went through and placed flowers at every single site.
I kept going, buying more and buying more.
He's been at it for over a week now, but he has no plans to stop until the work is done. Or what began as a labor of love for his father is now touching perfect strangers, too.
I think he's smiling right now. I'm hoping.
NBC5 broke the story about the knowledge of lead pigtails in early June. But a public records request shows at least one pigtail was removed and recorded in the beginning of May, and employees knew they existed before then.
I'm glad that you guys are at least bringing this to light.
Jesse Wilson was shocked when a Water Commission employee dropped off these test results last night.
I mean, if I would have known, I wouldn't have been drinking the water.
The lead pigtail on Oakdale Avenue was removed on June 24th, 9 days after a plan was put in place at a Water Commission board meeting to locate and remove any remaining lead pipes. But public documents obtained by NBC5 News reveal that there was knowledge of lead pigtails more than a month prior. In a May memo to manager Larry Raines from Water Quality Director Rosie Pendilli, Pendilli talks about a conversation she had with service crews, writing, quote, "They have told me over and over that there are lead service lines in the system, which I have relayed to you and others many times. I also stated many times that we should not claim we have no lead lines until we prove we do not. That could become a public nightmare." When I asked the manager why it wasn't made public then, he says he brought it to the board.
I followed the directions of the board.
And their direction was, don't do anything right now?
They didn't give me any direction other than take in the information.
We asked the board chair why nothing was posted on the website or sent out to customers until we started asking questions.
If somebody pulls one little part out of the ground, we're not going to do a public alert. There wasn't a problem. There was a problem in one spot. Now we find a problem in 5 spots.
439 parts per billion.
For Jesse Wilson, that kind of position is unsettling.
If it's one that has cancer, it's a problem. If it's one that's drinking lead, it's a problem. If I consume it, especially without my knowledge, it's a problem because I wouldn't have consumed it if I knew.
And when we asked if the board or the manager would have gone about things differently, knowing now that high levels of lead were found in the water of homes connected to a lead pigtail.
We talked about it in a public meeting. You just weren't here.
Or the rest of the people who get water from the Medford Water Commission?
We're going nowhere with this conversation.
If it were your house being fed by a lead pigtail, would you have wanted to know as soon as you knew lead pigtails were
I
being
think that's
found?
an unfair question.
Why?
I don't think that you're searching for something to make a news article after, and I think that's an unfair question. I'm not going to comment on that.
When we made our initial request to Jackson County Community Justice, they wouldn't comment, citing an ongoing investigation. So we filed a public records request, which the county denied. We appealed that denial to the district attorney because we felt the public had a right to know what happened in this case. And while a majority of what we were seeking was still withheld, the DA did order the county to release Justin Yeager's lodging history. It shows when a person is arrested, released, or if they escaped. Tonight in an NBC5 News exclusive, we're getting those answers.
We don't have a comment at this time.
Jackson County Community Justice won't comment on anything about Justin Graham Yeager, so the public records detailing what happened after his most recent conviction will need to speak for themselves. The 33-year-old has a record that includes convictions for burglary, resisting arrest, and felon in possession of a firearm. At the time of the alleged murder, he was on post-prison supervision. He was also supposed to be serving a sentence for charges he received in Talent on April 20th, but he wasn't. According to jail and court records, Yeager was booked at the Jackson County Jail on April 20th, after a Talent police officer recognized him for an active warrant. According to police, he gave a false name and wouldn't give officers his hands when they told him he was under arrest. 2 days later, he pleaded guilty to resisting arrest and was sentenced to 15 days in jail on April 23rd.
When somebody's sentenced to jail in Jackson County, when it's less than a year for the sentence, they're actually sentenced to the supervisory authority.
That's what happened in this case. On April 26th, Yeager was released from jail to the Community Justice Work Center. He was given a hard date or max sentence of serving at the center until May 17th. His projected release date or soft date, if he earned work credit, was May 10th. But Yeager was arrested by Medford police May 3rd and charged with murder in the death of 23-year-old Sierra Bree Clemens. Detectives say they found him hiding in this dumpster across from the scene of the crime. He was their lone suspect. But if he was supposed to be at the Community Justice Center until at least the second week of May, how was he here? According to the public records obtained by NBC5 News, he absconded from the Phoenix Work Center less than 24 hours after he was released to the center from jail. It was 10:45 in the morning on April 27th, and Yeager left wearing facility-issued orange. According to the log, all appropriate personnel were notified, and a community justice officer issued a verbal detainer, though the county declined to explain what that entails. No warrant was issued until 4 days after Yeager was lodged for murder.
If we had a 800-bed or 1,000-bed jail, would he still be in custody? I don't know. You know, we don't know because we don't have that option.
The crimes Yeager was at the work center for in April were misdemeanors, nothing violent. But Sheriff Nathan Sickler, who won't speak to this case in particular, says the county's current system is overloaded. As a result, thousands are released from the jail each year due to a lack of space. And for the people serving short sentences at the unlocked county work center, that leaves little consequence for walking away.
There's not a strong enough deterrent with the jail to keep them at the work release center.
According to the most recent statistics from Community Justice, of the nearly 2,400 people brought to the work center in 2017, nearly 450 absconded. In other words, about 19% of the people who came in walked out before their sentence was up. And while no one in the criminal justice system can anticipate what a person will or won't do after leaving custody,
If we could predict the future and predict human behavior, we would have zero crime.
Sickler says the incident highlights an ongoing issue of a jail that's too small for the system.
If there was more beds to go around, then it would make sense that more people would occupy those beds.